This is hi. My name is Chuck Connolly. We are here at the University of Iowa in the School of Urban and Regional Planning. I should say we're undergoing a name change right now. In fact, the Graduate Council of the University voted today for us to change our name to the School of Planning and Public Affairs. So that's underway, but we are right now at this minute School of Urban and Regional Planning here in Iowa City, and we're really glad to have you all joining us today. At any time, if you want to ask questions, there is a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we are going to proceed. We will try to answer those questions as best as we can, either online or probably just doing it the way we're doing right now, which is talking. My name is Chuck Connolly, and I'm director of the School of Urban and Regional Planning. And let me just introduce the other people. Let me have the people around me introduce themselves as well. So, Joe, do you want to get us started?
Hi, I'm Joe Walensky. I'm a second year here in the program. I'm a transportation and land use concentration student, and looking forward to our oral examinations and then graduating in May.
I'm Megan Schott. I'm also a second year student. I'm concentrating in housing and community development. And yeah, happy to be here tonight.
And you went to Roosevelt High School.
I did. I'm a Des Moines native.
Okay.
I'm Janet Bell. I'm the Career Services Coordinator. Hi, I'm Sheila. I'm a first year student, and I'm going to concentrate in community and housing development.
All right, well, very good. Well, thank you all for joining us today. And thank you, for those of you who are online with us, thank you for joining us as well. We are going to do a slideshow about our two graduate programs, both the Master's of Public Affairs and the Master's degree in Urban and Regional Planning. So let me get that started. And then we're going to hear from the students as well as from Janet, so everybody gets a chance to talk. I'm going to try to minimize this right now. Get back to it later. So here we are. We are in a graduate college at the University of Iowa here in Iowa City. We are going to talk about both degrees. Notice it says at the top, one school, 2 degrees. Currently, we're the School of Urban and Regional Planning. We've had the master's degree in Urban and Regional Planning for about 56 years now, going back to 1964. So that has been sort of our bread and butter for a long period of time. And as we'll talk about in a few minutes, we now have a new degree, a Master of Public Affairs, for which the first students will enter in fall of 2020. So we're right now trying to seek students who are interested in both urban and regional planning and the public affairs degree. And I'll talk a little bit about those degrees and how they differ from each other. For the planning degree, it's a 2-year full-time degree. This is it's an accredited degree, and accreditation guidelines require that the curriculum be 2 years. It's consists of a set of core classes in theory, methods, and practice. A concentration, if it's possible to do more than one concentration. A 6-hour field problems course taken in the second year, working with the Iowa Initiative for Sustainable Communities. There's room for electives. There is a final exam, oral exam, as one of the students so happily noted. And then there is an internship of 160 hours as well, or 2 hours credit. The areas of specialization or concentration, as we call them, include economic development, land use and environment, housing and community development, transportation, and then geographic information systems. Our most recent graduates who graduated in 2019 have gone into a variety of areas. There's just a lot of variety here. If you look at your screen, some of them have stayed in Iowa. Some of them have gone to California. One of them has gone on to get a PhD. Some of them are working for local governments, like the city of Newton in Newton, Iowa, or the city of Iowa City obviously Iowa City. One of them has gone to become an airport planner. That was based on the solid transportation work that she's had. Some have gone into the nonprofit sector, such as one of our students who's now with Better Place Forest in California. Another is working, several actually are working for private consultants. One is working for a design group, tool design group in the Twin Cities. Another is working for a major engineering firm, HDR, in Nebraska. So variety in terms of public versus private, variety in terms of whether you're working for local government. We have one or two, one working in state government, one working in the regional level with the Des Moines Metropolitan Planning Organization, and one even working in airport planning. So the reason why there is a lot of variety is because our curriculum does provide students with a good solid background to work in a variety of areas. So that's the master's, just really in brief, in urban and regional planning. The Master of Public Affairs was approved by the Board of Regents of the state of Iowa in September 2019. And basically is designed to fill a gap that existed in Iowa higher education, where there was no program, or certainly more, no accredited program in public affairs or public administration. Our degree tries to sort of merge both public policy and public affairs. As those of you who are interested in this field know, there are public administration programs, and then there are public policy programs. We're trying to do both basically, and give students the opportunity to do a concentration that emphasizes one area or the other, or they can mix things up as well. This is just a quote from me that was in the newspaper about the fact that the purpose of the MPA program is to address the major issues of the 21st century: environmental, social, economic, and political challenges. It's an interdisciplinary degree. It's based on enabling students to take courses from throughout the university, not just the School of Urban and Regional Planning. We're doing this in partnership with the Department of Political Science as well, and so they play a key role, but so do many other departments throughout the university. And this is what really gives the degree its richness that is valuable. It's the required curriculum for the MPA is 42 semester hours, consisting of 7 core courses, an internship, 5 electives, of which 3 have to be taken within a concentration, and then in 1 semester capstone course in partnership with Iowa Initiative for Sustainable Communities. These are the core classes. Some of them are the same classes that our urban and regional planning students take. There's a good reason for that. Our urban and regional planning program has for years had a public policy orientation. So the pivot sort of in the direction of encompassing both degrees, MPA and urban and regional planning, is not a difficult one for us. So there is some overlap, but there are also some other courses, particularly the courses offered in political science, that are not courses that are offered in the URP degree curriculum. There are 2 major areas of concentration. One is public and nonprofit management. In addition to working with local or state or federal government, many people with the MPA degree go on to work in nonprofit organizations, and there are some really good courses offered here, both in public management as well as nonprofit management that we can build on. And then the other area of concentration is public policy that I talked about earlier. These are the sub areas of the public and nonprofit management, including public, nonprofit, and strategic communication. And then these are the sub areas in the public policy area, including some that are urban and regional planning, but others that are in departments like education or criminal justice or the health policy. Careers are obviously with the MBA degree are in all levels of government as well as nonprofit organizations. One of the things that's common to both programs is a facility. We're here on the 3rd floor of Jessup Hall on the Pentecrest at the University of Iowa. We have a space we call the drafting room, which obviously sort of sounds like a planning space, but it's really a space where students come together and work on problems with each other and help each other out. It's a collaborative space. One might even call it a collaboratory. And so we do a lot of group projects as well. And so there's space here for students who are working on group projects to, as it's shown here, collaborate in our computer lab as well as meet. Janet will talk a little bit about the career development services that we provide, both for the URP students as well as the MPA students. And she will detail these, as I said, just a minute. These are some examples of students who graduated with a planning degree. We have 3 right here we want to feature, but all of them are also pursuing careers that are related to public affairs. Again, making the point that our students are versatile and they end up in a variety of different places. And the first one is Kaylee Banks, who graduated in 2012 or 2013, I think 2013. From here with a master's degree in urban and regional planning. She worked as a policy analyst with an energy consulting firm in Concord, Massachusetts, then decided to move to Alaska with her husband, worked as a conservation specialist there, and then nearly 2 years ago moved back to the Midwest. She's from Iowa, moved to Chicago, and is working with a utility scale developer of clean and renewable energy. So she's working in the energy field, she's working in the renewable energy field, but she spends a lot of time working with state legislatures, working on policies in those states where these kinds of development, particularly wind turbine developments, are taking place, making certain that state laws and state policies are compatible with the needs of the renewable energy field. 2 more students that are really they have urban planning degrees, but are demonstrating the success our students already have in the public affairs field. Adam Kofoed, is that right? Kofoed? Yeah, call him Adam. Class of 2018 is now city manager in Garner, Iowa. Garner is sort of in northwestern Iowa. He came into the program with some executive experience in the military, and he's those skills and what he learned here in urban regional planning have shown he's risen up through the administrative ranks. And a year and a half, really a little over a year after graduating, he's a city manager in Iowa. And then the last graduate from a few years back, class of 2000, followed a similar path. Started out as a planner, Ben Champ, and then worked his way into administration, and now city manager for Pleasant Hill, which is a suburb of Des Moines. So again, demonstrating the versatility of the degrees that our students graduate with, and the breadth of fields in which they can go into, whether it's planning or management. I mentioned earlier the Iowa Initiative for Sustainable Communities. IISC was created a little over 10 years ago as basically the community engagement outreach arm of both the School of Urban and Regional Planning as well as the University of Iowa. And it works with students from across campus, not just urban and regional planning, connecting them with communities throughout the state of Iowa to work on projects and planning. And so what it results in is students have a meaningful opportunity to apply their work, apply their studies to working with communities, many of which are in need of professional assistance. We're in eastern Iowa, for those of you who aren't familiar with the state of Iowa, which is in the middle of the United States. In fact, we're in Johnson County right here. You can always recognize Johnson. Most Iowa counties look pretty much alike, but Johnson County has this little tail right here. And that's how you can always tell. And this is so Iowa City is right here in the middle. And many of the projects we've worked in are in eastern Iowa, but we've worked in a few in north central and northern Iowa, as well as western Iowa. This is the Sioux City area, and this is the Mason City area. This is the Decorah area, and then we've done work in Dubuque as well. So we're very proud of the work we've done over these years. Some of you who are watching maybe probably are undergraduates at the University of Iowa. We are beginning a campaign to let people know about our U2G programs. U2G stands for undergraduate to graduate. The university very recently has greatly liberalized these programs to enable us to expand them to all undergraduate majors. And so that's exactly what we've done. So if you're interested in getting a master's degree, whether it's in urban planning or in the public affairs program, on top of your bachelor's degree, all together in 5 years, then you should think about the U2G program. If you're a senior, it's a little late for you to do that, particularly if you're a second semester senior. But if you're a junior, you're right on time, because the courses that you would take towards the graduate degrees would be in your senior year, in your 4th year at the University of Iowa. And this is just the particulars for the MPA U2G program. You would be able to earn up to 15 hours of graduate credit during your senior year. You would remain, even though you would be taking graduate level courses, you would still remain eligible for any undergraduate funding in that 4th year. And for students interested in urban regional planning, you too can graduate in 5 years. You can earn up to 17 hours of graduate level courses in your senior year, and of course remain eligible. By doing this, of course, you will save a year's worth of tuition, which we estimate to be about $10,000 at the in-state levels. So we encourage you to think about this. We're going to be also doing a open house. So if you want to talk to us in person, if you're an undergraduate here, particularly if you're a junior or a sophomore even, then please join us next week at 4 p.m. In room 302 in Schaefer Hall next Thursday, January 30th. We're having an open house at that time. If you have any questions about that, please email me. We've got the email address will pop up at the very end. Okay, so who is eligible to apply for the U2G programs? We look typically for applications during your 3rd year or your junior year. You need to complete have completed 80 semester hours at least by the end of your junior year. We would like your GPA to be a 3.25 or higher. And if you're a transfer student, we'd like you to have at least 30 hours taken at the University of Iowa. And this is just a demonstration of how the program works. Junior year, you apply. Senior year, you take classes, get your bachelor's degree. And then year 5 is your grad year. And at the end of the year 5, you get your master's degree. We've been doing this program. We have experience with it, but it's only been with 2 undergraduate degrees, one in civil and environmental engineering and the other in environmental planning and policy. But now it's open to all undergraduate majors. And so whether your degree is anthropology or zoology or something in between, you are eligible for this program. And you can apply by going to the URP MPA applications on the graduate admissions website. And if you need any detailed information on that, please contact me, and we can help you out there. I do want to say that we are still accepting graduate applications as well as U2G applications. We are beginning to make decisions on financial aid, but we still have, it's still not too late to apply for financial aid for both the URP and the MPA degree. This year, the assistantships for our master's students are a quarter, basically primarily quarter time. Some of them are half time. If it's quarter time, it's a little less than 10,000. If it's half time, it's 19,000. For next year, for 2020, 2021, we're looking primarily to have stipends that will be at the 1/3 time level, which is about $13,000, I think, if you do the math correctly. And it is equivalent to roughly 13 hours a week, 13 hours and 20 minutes, I guess, per week. Provides 100% of tuition and then half of mandatory fees as well. So the financial aid package it's a very, very nice package. So we will maintain that for the coming year. For those of you who aren't from Iowa City, this is your welcome. And for those of you who are at the University of Iowa, of course, you know about the wonderful things about Iowa City. So we certainly would enjoy having you here. As I mentioned earlier, we said 1 school, 2 degrees. but the new name will be the School of Planning and Public Affairs. It still has to be reviewed by the provost and the Board of Regents. The Board of Regents probably won't vote on it until April. So in the meantime, we're the School of Urban and Regional Planning, but our new name will be by April or so, the School of Planning and Public Affairs. Again, recognition of our new degree. Here are some information on our website. Ann Nessa, who is our admissions coordinator, will be coming off of maternity leave very soon. But between now and between now and February 10th, feel free to email me if you have any questions at charles-connerly at uiowa.edu. And I'm going to stop sharing at this point and open up that Q&A. I don't know if there are any questions there. There are no questions in the box right now. So I'm going to let, whoops, make that smaller. Okay, so I'm going to give the platform over to the students and ask them just briefly to talk about their experience. Sheila, do you want to go first since you're a first year student?
Of course. So as I said, my name is Sheila. I'm a first year student, and I am going to graduate in 2021. And I graduated previously in architecture, and I always wanted to do urban and regional planning, for which I applied for a scholarship. And I was lucky enough to win a Fulbright scholarship. And I'm here at the University of Iowa, for which I am very grateful, because I feel like I am constantly surrounded by highly qualified professionals who are going to lead me to the places that I want to reach in my career. So as I said, also, I'm going to concentrate in housing and community development. And I am very interested in working with communities. I am from Mozambique, and after finishing my degree, I intend to go back and apply for jobs in non-profit organizations, for which I'm looking forward to have some experience while I'm in the US. And I've been having a lot of help and support from the University of Iowa, my department specifically, staff, where they have always been able to guide me and provide the important support that I need to be able to apply for crucial jobs that I want to get into. So I don't know if I forget anything else. I think that one thing that I really like about this program, and I must really emphasize, is that I appreciate how there's a lot of collaboration between not only students, but professors and students as well. There's a lot of creativity going around, exchange of ideas, exchange of new opportunities, and everything always just flows. There is space for private work and space for group work, and everyone is very respectful of each other. And being from abroad, I never felt like I was set aside in any way. I'm always included in discussions, and that's something that I really appreciate in general.
Thank you. Megan?
I'm Megan again. I'm a second year. I'm graduating May of 2020 this year. And I chose Iowa a little bit because of my background. I came from Iowa State in a planning degree that was primarily design focused. It did have significant policy elements, but I wanted to gear my education more towards the policy focus, which is what Iowa offers. So I came from Iowa State with a planning degree, but I'm actually the only one in my cohort that had a planning degree, I think, coming into the program. So that's definitely not a requirement. I think I was the exception on that one. So yeah, the policy focused education was a big reason for coming here. Also, as Connelly has talked about, the excellent funding opportunities was a big draw. And those funding opportunities are paired in a lot of situations with research. In my case, they were paired with housing research opportunities, which is, a focus of my concentration, which is housing and community development. So by the end of this year, I'll have published research as part of that TA and research assistantship, which funds my education. So that's just a really unique and interesting opportunity that I didn't see at other places I applied. And a lot of my favorite things about the program, as you shared, that like mix of like public and private space, and the ability to work together, but also have all the resources to, work alone and, have double monitored computers and your own desk and all those things are really important pieces of getting your work done and being collaborative in the program. I think a big part of that is the small cohort of not just your classmates, but also professors, which makes everyone really kind of close and reachable. You can always walk into a professor's office and check in and follow up on a question or ask for something related to research they've done or whatever. So all that stuff is really accessible. The other thing that's very accessible is job opportunities. Janet is full-time in this department, and the career opportunities that we get as such a small department to have a full-time career services specialist is huge. So that was a big draw, and she's working all the time to send us opportunities that are tailored to our interests and what we want to do and based on our expertise. So that part is pretty incredible. The other reason I came here is because I have two sisters who also go to Iowa.
You have two?
I have two.
You had one.
I know I have two. I've got an undergraduate little sister and a sister in law school. So we're like a big family here in Iowa City, and we love it. So I think those are my favorite things. And on to Joe.
Joe?
Yeah. So I actually came back to school. I'm a returning student. I was out in the workforce for about 10 years before coming back to a graduate degree. And my family moved here to Iowa City specifically. My wife took a position with the university, and I was weighing the options of whether to continue searching for a position, continue a career, or whether to go back to school and get my master's degree. And that's something that I had wanted for quite some time, and something that I had actually seen as a career limiter in the past. My previous work was actually in international development, which I like to joke is hard to do here in the middle of the United States. But realistically, when I was working in the field, one of the things that struck me was occasionally, depending on where I was, there was very haphazard growth and development in areas. Specifically, I'm thinking of times that I've spent in the Horn of Africa. And that prompts the question of, well, why is their growth pattern different than what I was used to and what I grew up with here in the States? And that sort of led me down a rabbit hole of land use planning and planning in general. So as I was weighing my options, I saw that I could pursue a previous interest of mine, a previous career path of mine, while also furthering my knowledge in what hopes to be a related but new career for me moving forward. So that was one of the things that attracted me here to the university, is also the policy focus. So I can think about specifically ways that you can build communities, way you can structure land use to achieve some sort of desired end goal. And Iowa is great for that. So I'm, as it were, I'm actually now a transportation and land use concentration student. So I get to merge my love of cycling and active transit along with land use policies to help design, develop, and influence the growth and structure of communities that I'm going to live in going forward. Some of the things that I really like about this program are the field problems that was mentioned previously. I really like the hands-on experience of getting into communities and working on, in my case, active transit and environmental policy and features in Keokuk, Iowa, which is where my group is working this year. I really do appreciate that direct hands-on information and being able to have a real work product that I can show to potential employers once I get out of here. And in fact, I actually I already have accepted a position with a firm here in Eastern Iowa.
Sorry, you're gonna mention that.
Yeah, first in my cohort,
That's right,
I think,
yes.
to get a position, which I think everyone secretly hates me for. But definitely, yeah. But one of the great things about that is that they were very interested in the work that I was already doing in field problems, and I was able to directly relate my experiences working in communities and on real life situations as part of my internship, or part of my interview process, I should say. One of the things that I also really liked is that I was apprehensive coming back. I came into the graduate program as a 32-year-old. And beyond the occasional pop culture reference, which I'm sure goes right past me, I don't feel in any way sort of singled out. It's a refreshing, it's a reassuring sort of feeling, and certainly something that I was apprehensive about when I came back. And it's also very different from my experience as an undergraduate in terms of the support and assistance that the staff and faculty in the program actually provide. I was a politics and economics undergraduate student in Washington, D.C., and all of the professors in both those areas had much more important things to do than talk to an undergraduate student when they had some random question. And that's not really the case here. Everyone here is very devoted to the students and very devoted to instruction. And as was previously said, there is very much an open door policy here with professors. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but there are posted office hours, and then there's the reality of pretty much you can just sort of walk in at any point and speak to any professor that you either have a class with, that you would like to have a class with, or just generally in the program and you have just general questions about. So I've really appreciated the personal touch that this program has provided. I will say that if I had been coming to the university now, as opposed to a year and a half, 2 years ago, I would most likely be enrolling in the public affairs program. That tracks a little bit more with my previous experience.
That's why we delayed doing it, so we could get you an urban one.
There you go. That tracks a little bit more with my previous experience in federal government. But I've been incredibly happy with urban and regional planning program so far, and I think that I can really run with this degree going forward.
Okay. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think you've got a question.
Oh,
too.
yes.
We want to check
Yes,
what
thank you.
that is before we switch gears.
Okay. Excuse me for reading this out loud. We have several questions. I'm a senior at Iowa and have taken a few of the core classes you outlined. Will those count, or will I need to retake those? No, you won't need to retake them. It won't reduce your credit hour requirements, but you won't need to retake them. We would like to take a closer look at, well, if you've taken those particular core courses, then they would, you would not have to take them again. So that would be pretty easy. Had any of the professionals obtained a master's in public affairs who have experience from nonprofit organizations? 2 of our faculty have PhDs in public policy, Fang Xian and Foon Win, and a number of us have had experience with nonprofit organizations. One of our faculty, Jerry Anthony, helped found a nonprofit organization. Actually, I helped to found a nonprofit organization as well, not here in Iowa City, but in Tallahassee, Florida. So we've had experience as well, and there may be others that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. Once all of our applications and materials are uploaded onto MyUI, how long should we expect to hear back about admission financial aid? Good question. I believe it's a matter of 2 weeks to a month. But if you would like to email me, and I can give you a more precise answer after I talk to the chair of the admissions committee. They are underway and they're making decisions, but the exact timeline, I'm guessing, is 2 weeks to a month, but I'd like to verify that. So if you want to write me at Charles-Connerly at Charles-Connerly at uiowa.edu. Sorry, between my dashes and my dots, sort of like Morse code. Okay, well, thank you for those questions. And if anybody else has questions, please ask them. Janet will give you a chance in the few minutes that we have remaining to talk about what you do. to help people get jobs.
Sure. So as I said when I introduced myself, I'm the Career Services Coordinator. And as Megan alluded to, I work only in urban and regional planning. So I help the students here. I don't have any other departments that I'm supporting. So the students get all my assistance. And I was going to talk about some things that Chuck has already mentioned. We have a very high rate of employment for our students within the first year of graduation. It typically ranges between 90 and 100%. They have a job within 1 year, and that's looking back at 5 years of data. And if you want to see more about that, on our website, there's a tab titled Performance Indicators that we are required to post some data by the, I want to say American Planning Association, but it's actually
Planning accreditation.
Planning Accreditation organization. And that information should be on any planning program's website to help you compare programs. Our students are well prepared, as Joe alluded to. Field problems is something that every student is required to do. Their senior year, it takes both semesters. I guess I should say their second year. But it definitely gives them a hands-on, real-world experience that employers value when they're looking at hiring. Some of the things that I do are I give several presentations during the fall semester, and always am open to working one-on-one. In fact, I probably work one-on-one with each student just over their time here. And that's usually for resume review. We also do LinkedIn reviews because that's an important social media to have when you're looking for a job. We post jobs for our students to look at. We work really hard to help them find a position. And so in the spring semester, we post between 45 and 60 planning jobs each week, and about 15 internships each week. And this just helps our students. We know they're busy, and they're certainly encouraged to do searching on their own, but we definitely present them with what's available. We also have an alumni network that our students have access to. Our alums have the option to register on our website and include their job information and the city and state where they're located. And students can email them, and alums can offer suggestions if they have similar interests to what the student is studying, and just be good to connect with. Alums as well send us job and internship postings that we pass on to the students. There's the annual resume book, which we email out to about 500 of our alums. Every student is able to participate if they want. We just put them all together in a PDF document, and it's an easy way to get your resume in front of many people all at once. Very little effort.
That's actually a way I got mine.
That's how you got your internship.
Yeah.
They saw her,
It
her
works.
resume. Yeah, they saw her
A combination of some networking and,
Yeah.
and the resume book,
I
but
forgot about
it makes an impact.
Yeah, yeah. And then in January, next week, we'll be doing mock interviews for the students. Every year I arrange for several alums or other planning professionals to come and serve as interviewers. So they do the interview, and then they get immediate feedback from the interviewer. And again, it's another opportunity to practice for the real thing. And it helps people get their nerves out when they're practicing rather than at their first interview.
I'm not sure if you know this, but 2 of the second year students participated in mock interviews last January, and they had such an impression on the person that interviewed them that they've had regular correspondence with this person for potential positions in his firm all across the United States. He's part of a big multinational planning and engineering firm, and he's actually, because of those introductions from the mock interviews, he's been an asset for 2 of the second year students to try to pursue positions outside of the Iowa City region and Iowa State in general.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know who they are.
All our alums are nice. Planners are nice.
Yeah.
And then there are networking opportunities as well. We support our students going to the Iowa APA conference every year, as well as the national. We can offer some financial support, and I think that's all I had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I got my job.
Right.
You went to the
Iowa APA.
Iowa APA.
Yeah, that's how I got my job.
And as we move into with the Masters of Public Affairs,
Yes.
these services will be
Yes.
extended as well to
Yes.
MPA students.
And I expect them to have the very close hiring rate.
Right.
Employment rate at graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll get all the same services.
That's right. Well, it's really important that we have so much experience with this. We know that there are other, the other planning schools I know don't have
Right.
the kind of services that we provide. That's always remarked upon whenever we have outside visitors, accreditation or whatever. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. I don't want to forget anything. I think we've answered them all. So are there any closing remarks? Anybody, something that you didn't think of? Yes, Megan?
Well, I just want to add to the nonprofit question that there's opportunities within the program. I actually did nonprofit management courses as elective for my planning degree here. So there's, besides our professors who do have experience in nonprofit organizations,
Right.
there are other opportunities for you to get that elective experience.
Actually, the business school
Yeah,
offers
we
courses.
partner with them, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do. In fact, the person who teaches a number of this courses is a graduate of this program.
Yes, yeah, and Sean in our cohort. is
And
a
John
TA.
is a TA for that.
Yeah, so
that's right.
so there's a lot of connections
Right.
between us and any of those opportunities that you're looking for in the nonprofits.
We also work with, in addition to the Iowa Initiative for Sustainable Communities, we work with we have a relationship with the nonprofit center here that's in the College of Law, the Larned Waterman Center. And then also finally with actually two other entities related to public policy. One is the Public Policy Center here on campus, which is a research center. And then the other is the Iowa Policy Project, which Joe, you spent the fall working at as
Yes.
part of your assistantship. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So I was actually going to mention this after Dr. Connolly was done speaking, but thank you for the handoff. I do have an assistantship here with the program. Last year, for the entire year, I was a TA to undergraduate courses, but for this first semester this year, I was actually, I think I'd like to think of it as I was on loan to a local nonprofit called the Iowa Policy Project. And I did a few tasks for them, including sort of analyzing sewer overflow issues across the state over the past 10 years with Iowa DNR files. I've written some work for them on the solar panel and solar project across the state, but most significantly, I did a paper for them looking at the differing impact and recovery rates of vulnerable populations in vulnerable communities due to natural disasters, specifically flooding. And Iowa has recently, in the past 10 years, experienced quite a bit of flooding. And there was a wealth of information for me to draw on, including research that's been done here on this campus, and as well as the Iowa Flood Center, which is located here at campus as well. And I was able to review the existing literature that's out there, speak with experts in the field, and provide a number of policy proposals that I believe could assist individuals who are suffering from natural disasters like flooding, but also more importantly, ways that public institutions can shape their policies, especially their disaster recovery and assistance policies that would benefit communities across Iowa and also across the United States. And that was a really gratifying experience to be able to take the time and take the research that's available to me here and put out a paper that I hope will have an impact going forward. And I also really appreciated being able to dive into the policy world because that's very much what I used to do. So dipping my toes back into that was a lot of fun. And surprisingly enough, somehow or another, my voice ended up on the Iowa Public Radio,
Yes,
talking about the paper, which several of my professors heard as they were having breakfast one morning. And interestingly enough, from the job angle and the career angle, I've actually been approached by a few nonprofit firms about providing them with my thoughts on disaster assistance in the state, but then also potentially job opportunities with them. Alas, I had already secured a position, but recommended that they actually get in touch with our career services opportunities because there are many students here that can also offer the same sort of skill set.
Well, maybe it's not too early to ask for a raise.
Yeah, start working those angles.
Yeah, no, I thought what was really rich about that work that you did was that it combines research on climate change, which is certainly having an impact, particularly with regard to flooding in the Midwest and other sort of disasters like that, so-called natural disasters. But looking at climate change, but looking at this social justice impact. Who gets hurt the most?
Yes.
Where does the burden fall in terms of equity issues? So it's a great topic, great work that you did, and demonstrates sort of what we're trying to achieve here in terms of the values that we pursue, whether it's the MPA degree or the Urban Regional Planning degree.
And I think it actually dovetails really well with some of the coursework I've done here in disaster mitigation and planning, but then also thinking about the history of planning in the United States and across the world, just in sort of the way that planning has moved into advocacy planning, and really taking into consideration that the ethos of the profession is to speak for and plan for those individuals that are usually marginalized by their societies. So it was very gratifying to be able to jump right into that while still being here at school.
Well, excellent. I'm just going to make one more pass at looking to see if there are any other questions, and there aren't any. So I think we will sign off right now. But again, if you have any follow-up questions, you can email me. Let's see if I get this right. Charles-Connerly at uiowa.edu. Connerly is C-O-N-N-E-R-L-Y, 2 N's. And so thank you very much. And we hope to hear from you in the not too distant future. I'm going to sign off right now. Bye.